YouTuber. Cool. So there's someone else on YouTuber. 14 seconds, huh? Wait for someone to get here. Failed. There's a problem uploading your video. What the fuck? What problem would that be? Is it not on the network? What up? Who came in here? Doesn't say. Nobody. It's that one mysterious invisible viewer. What do you mean there's a problem uploading my video? I just went to the gentrification site show at the Rebel Lounge. It says it's connected. Yeah. Let's go to my YouTube. Maybe there's a problem.
Make a video here. Make a video here. On the word attacked. Say what happened. Like,
This is the Nikocado video. I don't care about that right now. It says one's going now. Maybe I just needed to refresh. Maybe it's like an app issue. Just let me close it and reopen it or something. Google. Failed. There's the retry button. Doesn't say cancel. Close. It's Leah, what's up? Let me turn the light on here. I was just like, wasn't feeling what was going on. Someone else, it's like, I should start up, just go live myself and talk about it. You're like, yo, that's whack. Vegan Cheetah's talking about, like, let's all, like, go not vegan one day, and I need a lot of non-vegan subscribers talking shit about veganism. Knew it'd come to that, you know. It's like, he's doing it for the money anyways. He's, like, only cares about what gets him money, is what he's saying. And he's feeling probably self-conscious because he's losing views. Am I on the wrong channel to be doing this? Videos? Failed. The problem uploading your video, it says. Why would there be a problem uploading my video? Restart the whole phone, I guess. That's what it takes. What the heck? Two people. What's up, Nancy Marie? I just went out dancing. It was fun. My friend, they're both really conscious vegan DJs, and they played a free show. And I'm saying errors or something about uploading the videos, so I should figure that out. How are you? Where are you from? It's quite an engaged audience. USA. Thanks for coming into the room. I'd be broadcasting for like 9 hours a day, just doing this date. See what I do? I'm organizing dates, and I have a library here, so it's like I have a date store and a library, and I'm doing the farmer's market tomorrow, so look, it's $2.50. So my job right now is to put stuff together in bags for the market so I can sell it in the morning. But I just had fun dancing, and I need to go out and like climb trees, so I'm like torn between what I want to do. I want to go out and climb the trees. It needs me. I need to go up there, put bags around the dates that aren't covered, and it's really late, so it's like last minute. You know, it really makes a big difference though, because everybody will have a party if I don't do it. The insects, the birds, the roaches, the rats. You imagine life needs food, so that's the most abundant food there is. Maybe that or prickly pears. And not everybody's into prickly pears. Dates are delicious. First food known to man. You know, like, I have so many dates here to organize. It's overwhelming. I need help really badly. I keep thinking I need help. My mom did it, like, just got on me and was just like, made me get it done before. But it's not fun. It's not fun. It sounds fun. No, it's not fun. It's really hard. It's really hard. Like, your back is sore from climbing the tree, your arms, your shoulders are always sore from getting stronger, and you're like, I don't want to get stronger. We have no choice. Definitely rewarding, hopefully. But I'm really messing up a lot. I got some truth. I'm learning a lot of hard lessons. That's for certain. That's for certain. Jeez. What not to do again next year. Don't go for certain ones early. Don't even go for certain ones at all. What a waste of time. The seed's too big. The meat's too small. Know where the ones are that I liked. I got those Majules on 7th Street. Oh my. That was the biggest date I've had. Yeah. My videos, are they uploading now? It says failed. It still says failed. What's up with that? What's up with that? 18. I don't understand. Let me try to do it again. You're still with me, huh? I don't know. What, do you want to know anything? You have 34 fans in your registry. You're new to YouNow? Do you come to look at the weird drama and realize it's just lame? I'd rather look at something else? Or you just saw the YouTube category and you were like, I'll click that hashtag. That looks interesting. I like YouNow. It's so fun. There's so much possible. There's little things happening everywhere that you wouldn't imagine. It's wild. It's so wild. It draws you in. It does draw you in, though. And even you're making stuff, you're like, I want to make something. Hey, Romarie. How are you? Welcome. Come in. Did you see what's his name? Vegan Cheetah's talking about funding cancer relief? And I'm just like, is it worth me guesting him and trying to tell him, hey, cancer's the last stage of disease. Yeah, I know, right? Though, thanks. Yeah. It's not cool. I've done so much research here. Let me read something. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just come on and read something from this book right here, The History of Natural Hygiene. And I was on the 68, it's page 68, and here it is. The unity. I was looking for other sources for the unity. There's 5 unities in natural hygiene. The unity of medicine and food, the unity of cure, the unity of cause, the unity of food and medicine, the unity of sickness and disease, or something like that. Yeah. Let me see. This is might get into it because this is G.C. Clements. Do you guys know who Hilton Hatima is, or ever heard the name Hilton Hatima? Well, this is his name before he went to that level of whatever that level is. I don't know. People think have you ever seen in Facebook? I have a gallery called Gustav Nigel, and he's another guy who's a lot like Hilton Hatima. But I like Herbert Shelton because Herbert Shelton worked with this guy here, G.R. Clements, and this is 1994. This was written. So this is in Hugo, Oklahoma. Quote, if one should maintain his blood in absolute purity, disease would be virtually impossible. The blood is the life of the flesh. You're what you eat. You are what you are through the influence of blood that circulates through your body. Barnard McFadden. And Barnard McFadden, that's a quote from Barnard McFadden. Barnard McFadden's the guy who started something called physical culture, and physical culture is what became bodybuilding. So people who were bodybuilding were skipping the middleman and getting protein right from fruit. And that's Barnard McFadden quote. So I'll read it again so it sounds good, because 2 more people just showed up. If one should maintain his blood in absolute purity, disease would be virtually impossible. The blood is the life of the flesh. You are what you are through the influence of blood that circulates through your body. Barnard McFadden. Vital Supreme, page 794. That's a book from Barnard McFadden. I wish I had more. I have a Barnard McFadden book, only one. The universe is a unit. It is, in effect, of one cause, as the whole is made up of the parts. We are, for this reason, justified in assuming that the whole was produced as the parts are produced. It is inconceivable that there is one order of work for the whole with a contradictory order for the parts. And if the universe is under the control of the law of one law, unity, one body, how could some parts of it be under the control of some other law? The body likewise is a unit, and if the effect of one cause, the effect of one cause. Also, the whole is made up of the parts, and the whole was produced as the parts are produced. The same order of work that rules the whole also rules the parts. Conversely, the same order of work that rules parts of the body, so small they cannot be seen, is the same order that rules the whole. Holding this fact, therefore, as our guiding light, we shall proceed to state the primary cause of all disease and explain the problem so clearly that anyone of common intelligence can easily understand it. Those accepting as their doctrines the precepts of men, Matthew 15:9, may reject this truth because the sublime simplicity, but we as believers in the Word and not in the tradition of men should remember that the deepest truths ever expounded have been the simplest and not readily comprehended. There are no exceptions in nature, therefore the truth as to disease is no exception, and the rule of natural simplicity, regardless of all existing complexity and mystery, invented by the degree of gold for its own base ends now surrounding disease. See, so they're trying to force medicine around disease to make money. That's what they said. The primary cause of disease is nothing more, nothing less than the one wrong use of things supplied by nature, violation of the laws. Since effect follows cause as night follows day, we find the primary effect of the primary cause to be 2. Enervation, lowered vital resistance, and toxemia, poison in the blood, these being the first stages of all bodily disorders. Some authors who fail to go back to fundamentals of their first principles mistake the primary effect for the primary cause and then divide the question, one side holding that toxemia is the primary cause and the other that enervation is. As we shall see, both opinions are erroneous, for the primary cause of disease is not found in the flesh. It is strange that science should seek for the cause of disease nowhere but within the body, and for cures, quote-unquote, nowhere but without, when the real situation is just the reverse. The primary cause of disease is found without, and the only cure in the universe is the curative power of and within living organisms. It was just as sensible as to search in a stone for the cause that brings it back to earth when hurled into the air, and the raindrops from the cause of their descent from the clouds, as the search within the body for the cause of disease. Certainly, the study of dead men and the animals under vivisection will never reveal the cause of disease, and for the cause is invisible, and is not within the body, but in fact all causes are invisible. Newton never saw the power of gravitation. He learned of its existence through its effects. Effects only are all that we ever see. Enervation, toxemia is merely the primary effect, while the primary cause, as we have stated, is the violation of the laws of life. Bam! Like, I could keep reading this. I want to read this whole chapter because it's pretty important about unity, because I want more references on these 5 unities and where they come from and how they were arrived at, the 5 unities. And these guys are pretty important, you know. This is the history book. Can I fan you? What? You're 38. What do you want me to fan you for? Are you from Australia? What do? You make YouNows? I'll fan you. I'll see what you watch. Maybe she'll show up in my stream sometime and I'll check you out. Dun dun dun. You gave me 10 ups. Thanks. Oh, I was watching. I don't even know how that works. I'm so new to this. I just been broadcasting. Who is a moral judgment? Oh, okay. What do people want to know? That I would disagree with Cheetah? What, I disagree with those people on? Oh my gosh, why are my YouTube videos uploading? What's going on here? What's going on here? You got a problem? They have to change accounts or something? Let's try that. And I'll re-download them and re-put them together? I don't know. Maybe it's giving me errors for some other reason. Let's go log into Sunshine Bright, because I'm kind of moving over to Sunshine Bright. I'm like, well, Black Sphinx is kind of being under attack by Viacom and some other frickin' guy who's all hating on me for sharing frickin' remixes he made. But I didn't just share the remix. I edited the hell out of his remix. I remixed his remix. Way more than freely remixed the Get Upset Girls remix. She just cropped their shit out. I cropped his shit out, and I edited it like maybe twice or 3 times for every second. There's all kinds of edits. I tighten that thing up. That's what I do. It's a different thing. Like, you can only imagine that more than 50% of the video is edited, and 100% is in fact edited, because I've changed the frames and the pictures and the colors and applied all kinds of funky stuff. it's pretty fun, but I don't know. I told him don't do it because it's just going to lead us to drama for a while. It's unnecessary, and he just did it anyways. And then he's like, I don't like the expectations, and I'm like, yeah, no shit, dude. I'm not trying to punish you. So what are you doing? I can say we can come to a agreement, a conclusion. Let's try again. Let's video 1, upload, and let's wait for it to upload before we upload more. Let's see that it's moving. There it goes. 18 minutes remaining. It is moving. All right. Keep going. Video 2. And does anybody want to know? There's only one. There's 3 people here now. Who's all the audience? Got to keep people representing. John, who I unbanned. I don't know. John, tell your story. All these people who are feeling angry about you. Nancy Marie's still here. That's nice. Am I in video 2? Yeah, video 2. You guys want to hear a little preview of this? I'll just play a little bit for you. This is what I'm uploading. Video 2. My phone's so dirty. Hey, YouNow boy. 3. I think I had my finger on the microphone there. I quickly took it off. Yeah, there it is. I was making a mistake. This phone's delicate. You don't want to put your finger in a certain spot, because you block the microphone. I don't know. I just say, what's everybody doing? I say, what do you want to tell the people who are like saying weird things? I say use the method, man. Like when you don't use the method to point out not using the method. That's not helping. Like I say, even that's like not helping, right? So it's like I would say, when I feel worry and then I have a need for clarity or something like that. On video 3, so that people can see it as an example rather than, because when you have other examples to follow, sometimes, even if they're negative or positive, most people are making negative examples like what not to do, right? But making positive examples is just even more important. That people know that actually that they have a choice. They can say, whoa, I could do that too. It's like an envy thing. Just because we get jealous of something, we want to do it too, and that's kind of what happens. So it's like, wow, look it up. So it's just 6 videos. They're all going up, and they're going on. I guess that's it. No more uploading the Black Sphinx. It's like they're cutting me off. Fuckers. On YouTube. They said I lost that Nancy, whatever it was. She was like doing that Happy Days, or I just remixed. I said I secularized it. There must be some kind of like bias at the people working at the Google headquarters. Like, fuck no, I'm a follower of the Lord. If this guy's not removing Hallelujah from this song and then getting it to be fair use. But dates. I want to get this last thing of dates done because I got market to do tomorrow. I can pack up. I can like sell bags at the market as they go out of the crate. I could just be like, I got a crate of dates. I got gloves on. How much do you want? And I could just, that'd be cool. That'd be like, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do, I got no time to frickin', I don't got no one's working full time for me packaging my dates. So I just unpackage them as I sell them. Makes sense. Makes sense. People will just evacuate once I start doing all the things I want to do, because I'll just like start doing things I want to do, and I'll stop paying attention, and people are like, spend us a minute with us, and I'm like, oh, but then nothing happens, and I'll come over here and there's like nobody really interacting with me, so it's like, people just probably leave it in the background, like, oh, he's going, this is cool. And I was learning, maybe you were listening, right? I was reading this book and you found something of interest because you're like, you wanted to hear my talking about health and healing. But I'm going to finish reading this. I'm going to upload this as a YouTube video eventually. So it's a few more pages, quite a few more pages actually. It goes from page 68 to 82. So that'll probably take me like 40 minutes to read. Letters from Dr. Edward Hooker Dewey. Dear Mr. Carrington, very glad to hear from you, and shall be glad to get any new points evolved by your experience. I want to advise you to procure Horace Fletcher's new Glutton or Epicure. It is the best book for all to read who are still able to eat that has ever been penned by mortal man. Let's find that, huh? Can we find this book? It's called New Glutton or Epicure. Or then it's back. I am very, very pleased to hear from you and to assure you that I consider the case of Mr. Davis the most remarkable case I know on record as a revelation of nature's power over disease. I have long held that a fast, if long enough, would cure such diseases. The physiology of it is this. Through the fast, the clot that was originally had changed into an organized mass that pressed against the nerve roots, hence the paralysis. This mass became softer so as to absorb by the blood absorbed as brain food, and this way cancers that other diseases structures are eaten up as brain food. I hope to know you better. So he says how cancer is healed. So that's what happens when you go into a fasting state and stop eating. Your body will start using all the things that are of less optimal, it wants to use the less useful things first. It gets rid of, it's very smart in the way that it uses the resources that you have. It will use the least, the ones it doesn't want the most first, and that's what will eat the tumors. That's why tumors and cancers reverse easily when doing natural hygiene. And so letter 3, only God could break a fast where there is a sick stomach, and there is no time to let Newton perform the task. Taking food into such a stomach is death-dealing. There is nothing to do but to make the body and mind as comfortable as possible, and nature will cure. If the seal of death is not set. See, my mom has been doing raw food since 1974, and she didn't heal her irritable bowel syndrome until she did the water fast just recently. Oh my gosh, all it takes is the water fast, and you'll reverse your problems that are chronic and acute healing crises are the things that we face. Our body's instituting vital resistance to, and then it has tolerance. It can only tolerate so much. As your tolerance goes up and you're able to take in more drugs with less effect, people who are doing anything that's toxic, and they're like, oh, I don't have any problem from it. Well, it's building up. Their tolerance for it is super high. That's what creates addiction. And when they no longer have it, they'll have withdrawal symptoms. Anything that you don't have, and you need it, and you feel like you need it, that's addictive. Like I cannot have a certain kind of fruit, and then I'd be like, I'm not going to be like having a major problem in withdrawal symptoms just because I don't have some durian. You know what I mean? I'll be like, okay, I have to eat papaya. I have what I have. What's ripe's ripe. It depends. If you get past 7 days, it goes past digestion, and if you get past 20 days, it goes into deep healing. But I wouldn't do it if it wasn't body initiated. If you didn't have actual conditions necessary that you were really important about doing to getting through. And it's like, it's like things that you live through in your whole life, and do it planned too. Not only would it be body initiated, it's kind of like it's a balancing act between whether I'm planning to do it because I have time and energy, and it's total rest. It doesn't involve, you can't just think you're going to be part of whatever life you're doing. You're going to be in some special state under someone's supervision so you don't have trouble. It's like someone who's got experience with other people fasting. Yeah, like Tanglewood or True North, or Doug Graham does his temporary retreats and stuff like that. Or like there's a place in Hawaii too, I heard, and there was guys in South Africa, there's guys in Australia. It's pretty simple, Some people do like a short one over the telephone, but still, but get introduced then, 7 days, But, you want to be extended long enough to get, because you're not getting past your digestion, It's like, but it does, it initiates stem cell growth, So we know that, and it's scientifically proven. That's because that's what happens. The body has vital nerve energy, and our vital nerve energy is rested. You've seen the Australian school map? The map from Australia. Saudi Arabia looks cool in Australian. Libya looks cooler too, huh? Europe is actually really small. Europe tries to make itself look big on maps, but it's actually this really small place. USA is actually squished too, you see? They always try to make Canada really big on a map. That's actually the land area of Canada. It's not really big, What's big is Brazil. Yeah, I have a bunch of documents in my Scribd about that kind of stuff. I have to keep putting them back up. It's like the 9 steps to water fasting and stuff. It's more important. That's what I'm raised in the Hippocrates school, so it's all about let your food be your medicine be your food. But to eat when sick is to feed the sickness. So we don't eat when we're sick, you know. If you have any symptoms, those symptoms are self-healing crises. So listen to them, let them conduct themselves, and once they've finished, then resume eating. You know, that's the idea. Like, I'm gonna keep eating these grapes. Where did I put the grapes? Are they in the car still? In the bag? Let me go get them. I don't want to leave stuff in the heat. This is Arizona, so it's gonna be freaking 100 degrees again and again and again. That's how dates ripen. Oh, yeah. Any other questions? The videos are uploading. It don't take all night, though. 15 minutes. I made some really long videos. I like doing live shows, though. I'll just record the live show. Here we go. Special visor. I only got 2 viewers. Cheetah's still on, huh? I know some stuff, too. I could do raw vegan drama. Let's do some raw vegan drama, huh? I think raw vegan drama is more interesting for the vegans, whereas the vegan drama, that's just like, yeah, that's too much, man. That's like interesting to non-vegans. Oh. I'm gonna start raw vegan drama. Because Vegan Cheetah's not covering the raw vegan drama because he doesn't have time or he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand raw vegan. Most of us from the Freely During Our camp came from raw veganism. It's not. It's because of raw veganism. It's not because of just vegan drama. That's why it's so much more passionate, because people reached an epicenter of health and then stopped learning. And that's like what you see. You're looking into my videos and stuff now. So you see, I've been going much further. Like when I learned in 2008 about Mike Arnstein and running and all this stuff, I was like, that's cool, but where did it come from? So I'm always looking backwards and forwards and all around. And I just ordered Mary Grove Nichols' book today, and it's really good. Mary Grove Nichols wrote speeches and lectures on hygiene for women, natural hygiene for women. She was the female version of Sylvester Graham, and Sylvester Graham was the biggest health reformer ever. I mean, let's find something about Mary Grove Nichols. Is there an index or something? That would be lame if there was no Nichols in here. It's part of the history. It says Clements, Crane, Children, Diet, Food, Suzanne, Dr. Suzanne W., Fletcher, Sylvester, Hippocrates, Thomas Huxley, Hygienic System, Impaired Elimination, Jennings Isaac, Kneep. Kneep was an early German guy who did the similar things in Germany. McFadden and Barnard McFadden, it's cool. Oswald and Felix Oswald. I like Felix Oswald a lot. But they don't have Nichols listed here. The Sunwave, the Tox Tilden, John Henry Tilden, Dr. Trawl, Vegetarianism, page 21. No, I don't want to read about that. I want to read about, let's see, Hippocrates, page 10 through 40. Whoa, all the way 10 through 40? Are you serious? 10 through 40 is Hippocrates, it says. How's that going to work? How can you be mentioned for 40 pages? Or is it just on page 10 and page 40? What do they mean? Okay, I've done veganism for 34 years. Nah, there's no online. It's not even, it's like, I don't see it as a community. It's just a bunch of different individuals trying to sell ads through AdSense. And they might know each other because different people have organized like summits where they got different people together and made like
videos, and I put those videos on my channel. Actually, you can see those. I think it stirred up a lot of drama because it's so strong of information, right? What are you gonna do? Like, you can't ignore it. So you're either gonna accept it or reject it. That's what people do. They accept or reject stuff, and then they work really hard with their energy. Well, there's limited energy. So who's got more energy, huh? Why did it say Hippocrates, page 10, and I don't see anything about Hippocrates on page 10? Oh, there it is. Here it is. Dr. Graham's book covered practically the entire field of hygienic reform and considered the fact that it was written more than 100 years ago constitutes a remarkable document and veritable classic, which should certainly be in the library of every health enthusiast. The only trouble is that finding a copy, since the book is out of print, is exceedingly scarce. And now, a few quotations from this book, writing of the general following of mankind and the attitude towards health, medicine, and doctors. Generally, he says, while in health, mankind prodigally wastes the resources of their constitution, as if the energies of life were inexhaustible, and when by the violence of these excesses they have brought on acute or chronic disease, which interrupts their pursuits and destroys their comforts, they fly to the physician, not to learn from him what violation of laws of life and health they have drawn this evil upon themselves, but by what means they can in the future avoid the same similar difficulties, but considering themselves as unfortunate beings visited by the afflictions which they have in no manner been concerned in causing, they require their exercise of the physician's skill in the application of remedies by which their sufferings may be alleviated and their diseases removed. And in doing this, the more the practice of the physician conforms to the appetites of the patient, the greater is his popularity, and the more cheerful, the generously he rewarded. How true, he further says, it is therefore beyond all question that in all countries where human alignment is abundant and easily procured, gluttony and excess, alimentation is decidedly the greatest source of disease and suffering and premature death to man! Exclamation point. Excess in drinking, said Hippocrates more than 2,000 years ago, is almost as bad as excess in eating, and the statement has remained true from that day to the present. Intoxicating liquors and substances with all their fatal energy to destroy all their tremendous evils they have done, and surely they are great, terribly great. They have still caused less disease and pain and ultimately death in human family than errors in the quality and quantity of food. A drunkard sometimes, though, very rarely reaches old age. A glutton never does. However correct the quality of our food may be, if we habitually overeat, the whole nature is required in proportion to our excess. Indeed, it is as a general rule strictly true that a correct quantity of a less wholesome alignment is better for man than an excessively small or an excessively large quantity of a less wholesome alignment. The quality of our food should, within certain limits, be proportionate to the quality of our active exercise. Yet the most athletic and active laboring man is constantly in danger of taking too much food. Indeed, it is questionably true that at least 99% of the farmers and other laboring men of New England are prematurely worn out and broken down by overeating. All that exceeds the proper supply of the body once necessarily oppresses the organs, diminishes the muscular power, and serves to impair and wear down all the energies of the system. The question is not whether man is capable of subsisting on very great variety of vegetable and animal substances, for he does possess the constitutional capacity of deriving nourishment from almost everything in the vegetable and animal kingdoms. But the question is, do the highest interests of human constitution indispensably require that man should, as a general rule, subsist on both vegetable and animal food? It is not whether he can, but whether he must subsist on as much mixed diet in order to secure the highest and best good in which his nature is capable. It has been judiciously observed that when all the circumstances of life are taken into consideration, citizens generally should be regarded as individuals by those who lay rules for diet, for although they may not be actually diseased, yet the causes which continually control our use the caution of the prudence of individuals in order to preserve the caution and prudence here suggested do not mean that citizens should be always taking medicine or trembling lest a free breath of air should blow them upon them for always thinking about their health, but that they should carefully avoid those excesses and errors in their dietetic and other habits which are decidedly unfavorable to human health. Compare. If man subsisted wholly on uncooked food, and undepraved integrity of his appetite would greatly serve to prevent his overeating and thus save him from the mischievous effects of one of the most destructive causes operating in civic life. For excessive alimentation is undoubtedly the cause of more disease and premature death in civilized man than anything else which affects his existence. And there is no other possible anything which the evil can be removed than by a stern simplicity of rigid adherence to throughout life. Ordinary dietetic changes should take place gradually, not that there is really so much danger in changing suddenly from a worse to a better diet, as in generally supposed, but that the uncomfortable feelings which at first attend such sudden changes are such as most certain to drive most people back to their old habits. It is infinitely better to subsist upon a mixed diet of vegetables and other their old foods under a good general regime than to live wholly vegetable food selected vigorously and eaten while at the same time living in violation of almost every other rule of health. Yeah, because most people, that's what I'm saying. People are living and breaking the other rules of health. And to just do the diet change is not enough. You want to do all five things, which is the air, the sunshine, the water, the rest, the happiness, and the diet. None would exist without each other. That's the five unities, huh? Another five unities. That's what the 5 points of the pentagram stand for in Pythagoras' health school of Essene, which I was raised in. And that's why my name's Sunshine. Where the constitutional principles upon which the renovating capacity of vital economy depends, in themselves inexhaustible, then there these bodies of ours, even in the present state of being, capable of immortality. But this is not so. The vital constitution itself wears out. The ultimate powers of living organs are, under the most favorable circumstances, gradually expended and finally exhausted. In relation to disease and the true principles and means of cure, the most universal and lamentable ignorance prevails amongst mankind. Few probably ever attempt to define their own notions of the subject, but are content to go through life with the most vague and indistinct impressions. Yet, if we were to take the actions of man as true expressions of their ideas, we should unhesitantly say that human beings almost universally consider health and disease as things absolutely entirely independent of one another, voluntary conduct, and that their ability to control. They regard disease as substance of things which enter the body with no little connection to their own voluntary actions and habits, that nothing which they can do can prevent disease, nor vary the time nor the violence of its attack. And according to their education, they believe it to be the effect of chance or of fate, to a direct and special dispensation of some overruling power. The consequence is that they either submit to disease as an element of their irresistible destiny, or seek for remedies which will kill it or expel it from their bodies as a substance, a thing independent from the conditions and actions of their organs. I can keep reading. It's really intense. This is quite important. Look here. This is Russell Thatcher Troll. This is the guy who wrote. He's a great writer. Him and Herward Carrington have wrote some amazing things. Like, the simple extracts from Sylvester Graham's book will serve to give the reader an idea. This guy's a vegetarian pioneer. He's like champion vegetarian all across the country. And I'm certain he got tarred and feathered for doing it. So fuck that vegan drama. Who's Vegan Cheetah? Like, I'm glad there are vegans in here, but I don't know if she's sticking around. But Vegan Cheetah says fuck veganism, and I'm just gonna have people eat meat one time the vegan cheat on purpose. Oh my gosh. What the fuck? That's crazy. Which are original, daring, and far advanced of his time. Much that he said has of course been amplified and brought up to date by modern authors. Oops. But credit must always be given them to their historical value, and to Dr. Graham himself for profound and beneficial influence he exerted, not only in his own day, but for all time to come. We might well say to him, "The king is dead, long live the king." Poor Graham. What does Apple want, man? It says Google Tools, any connection, forever. Okay, I'll allow it. If it's trying to happen, I'm going to let it happen. Forever. Google Tools. Oh my gosh. Let's read these words from Dr. Graham. Sylvester Graham said, "With the universal opinion that all diseases and sufferings were the direct and arbitrary and even vindictive inflictions of their God or gods, mankind have cherished no other fear or disease than that which grows out of their own gross superstition, a disease that which grows out of their own superstition, a fear that God would send sickness and death upon them, independent of any laws which he established in relation to health and disease. Has never occurred to them that there is any relation between their own voluntary habits, customs, and indulgences and the diseases which they are afflicted, like Brianna Jackfruitson having all these problems now after she went to junk food. That's not vegan to the human animal. They have never sought to find the causes of their diseases within the precedents of voluntary conduct, and they're never taken the care to prevent disease by avoiding its causes. The whole drift has been to one point on this subject, the ascertain of remedies for disease in every form, and hence the phenomena or symptoms of disease have been studied, less for the purpose of ascertaining the nature of the diseases in relation to its causes than for the purpose of ascertaining that remedies are to be used. How could it be otherwise amid such errors that disease should soon and universally come to be considered as a thing distinct from its causes, and consequently be treated with little to no reference to its causes? Nay, indeed, the active cause of be permitted to operate unsuspected, and yet worse, the cause be associated with the remedial agents, and worse of all, the very causes themselves be administered as remedial agents in the case. Such a delusion necessarily has led to the deeper and more fatal error that there is a medicine and intrinsic health-giving virtue, that it has the proper absolutely to take away or kill disease and impart health, and that this has led to the wide-sweeping evil that has spread more calamitously than all the plagues of Egypt over the whole civilized worlds, and the eternal and suicidal drugging of mankind regarding disease as a thing apart from his causes, and believing medicine to be process and intrinsic salutary potency, they have ignorantly and eagerly gathered upon themselves the causes of disease and sought a redemption for the painful consequences only in the virtues of medicine, which has too often proven more destructive than the original causes themselves, and in cooperation with these causes has terribly accelerated the work of death. Yeah. Bam. You know what I mean? Like, these guys were geniuses. I really value their writing. I have a lot of their books. If anyone's watching, who's still watching me? Go on and on and on. Oh, wow. Thanks, Nancy Marie. You're the one person who's stuck around for any amount of time so far. Other than maybe Marissa. That's cool. Thank you. I appreciate your ears. These grapes, I really enjoy these grapes too. I have the book The Grape Cure on my shelf. It's from Hannibal, and Hannah Honeyball, I think her name. And she wrote a whole book about how just eating grapes, because, it's like a cure. I mean, just eating one thing makes you happy. You eat one thing, your body's like, oh, I know what to do with that. I don't have to do all these complex things. Like, it's so simple. Look at these oranges I got. These are from Australia, and I'm worried that they might have gone through the ocean with Fukushima radioactive water, and everything in the world is going to die because of Fukushima. We're going to have to mutate, where the oceans are dying. It's really sick, and then we're all going to be affected more and more as time goes on because it's uncontrollable. China syndrome was when it melts into the earth and causes an earthquake. Imagine a man-made volcano where Fukushima is, because it's drilling into the earth and they have no solution. All they keep doing is spraying more seawater on it, and then all that 300 tons of seawater back into the sea every day. Meltdown. It's like a meltdown. I don't even know what a meltdown looks like, but it's probably really ugly looking. It's like nuclear power that generates itself. It's broken cells, right? And they said E equals mc squared by breaking the mass with the speed of light, or whatever they're doing, and then they're releasing that energy, endless releasing of energy. I don't know, I'm just talking about Fukushima, because these oranges were from Australia. These oranges are really good, they're navels, and I was eating them, I was thinking, man, my health is going to suffer or not. But you can tell they're a little unripe. I'm glad to have them, though. The oranges in the store from here, they have to keep them cold from the summer, and it's already the midsummer, the orange season's over. So if you still got oranges now, they're from last season, and they don't taste good anymore. Yeah. So he knows more than I know. He's been there in Japan. I mean, who knows? The media probably tells people all kinds of stuff. Oh, it's safe, who cares? Go about your business. But really, a lot of people are getting leukemia, maybe, huh? Mutations, they're adapting. Babies are being born without brains. And, so I hear. That's what's going to happen. We're going to mutate rapidly. It's going to be not like real time, because we're already adults. If you're already developed, yeah, you're not really having a problem, so much. But if you're developing and you're new growth, you're young and you're a baby or you're a kid and you're growing, you're exposed to this radioactivity, and you're going to have a new mutation in your growth because of the radioactive exposure. That's how life has evolved on Earth. But slowly, because there's not that much radioactive stuff around. So little adaptations and little changes. We're not aware, and we didn't have Geiger counters. We don't know. But I'm sure, people's movements on Earth and being around more radioactive rocks and other animals too, it causes mutations. Yeah, Cheetah said he trusts the government. That's because he's following their rules too. Look at that. If you're on probation and you're doing all those programs, fuck that. The drug war is made. Yeah, my one of my girlfriend's grandmother, her name was Melinda Ahrens, but her grandmother invented the Geiger counter. She was a woman who worked on the Manhattan Project in Wisconsin. Even a hazmat suit's not going to protect you from radiation. Was like made from lead or what? Lead suit? Yeah, man, we're all affected. There's no hiding from radioactivity. Unless you're hiding behind a lead shield or something. Not radiation, radioactivity. Radiation is just like light and stuff bouncing around. Like radiation is like different than radioactivity. Radioactivity is like fallout. It's like breaking down cells. Like you can read about it. Yeah, I don't trust that because you take iodine pills, you're poisoning yourself. I want iodine. If I get a trace mineral, it better come from a plant. It's not coming from any inorganic mineral source. It's coming directly from a plant. You know, because the plant took it out of the soil. The plant has a microbiology that lives in the soil that helps it in its roots and helps absorb its nutrients. Just like we have a microbiology in our guts. Yeah, I don't trust it from any of those. Anything that's been broken, as soon as you've denatured the plant, you want it in a living plant cell. It comes from a cell that's living like this. The only thing is just eat more diverse fruits from more different areas and you'll be fine, you know? But iodine is like a trap, one of those tricks. Don Bennett, this guy who's like anti-hygiene, he like tries to claim to be hygiene, then he works against it. What an insidious guy. And then he like throws other people of us and lies about them and like even changes my quotes. I hate that guy. That guy's one of my trolls. That guy, Don Bennett, Nick Ocado, and Ryan Lum are the three people who've made stuff against me. Okay, good night, Rancy Murray. Yeah, I know I should probably go to bed too. It's 3 and I gotta be up at the market in 4 hours. Well, 4.5 hours. But I gotta get the dates together. Yeah, I got farmer's market and I have a lot of dates to put in bags and stuff. I'll be alright. I'll just go there unprepared and I'll just show up and I'll just be like, I got my gloves on. How much do you want? I gotta try a new hustle. I'm just organic, you know, like keep it real, you know. It's like I just do stuff on the real. I'm like last minute, no preparation, just make it happen. Oh my gosh, I'm behind schedule. Yeah, they said I was eating fish, and then Ryan Lum was mad at me, and he said he'd rather hang out with Mike Velocity or Evan Rock than me. Because he was mad trying to say cooked food is as good as raw. Yeah, right. And then he like tried to bring his whole fame is that he brought a rice cooker to Woodstock, but he was mad at me not because of this, because I said turn on AdBlock Plus to block the ads, and that's how he makes his money. So he's coming after me because of the advertisement, and Nick was coming after me because I wasn't eating cooked, because they moved to cooked, and I might not have agreed with it. So it's a reason to attack. Oh my gosh. And I used to make videos supporting them. I did raw, and I'd remix their videos and make them sound straight by slowing it down a little bit. Man, I thought those guys liked me. Oh, I can't go to Woodstock. I'm banned from Woodstock. I'm banned from Woodstock over Zionism. I hope none of you guys agree with Zionism. It's not cool. Zionism is like discrimination and apartheid. It causes all these Middle East wars, you know? I feel like it's the Sauds, the CIA, and the Zionist project are working together to destabilize things and make war and try to keep their central banks in power. But they can't do it because we have Bitcoin now. We freed ourselves, man. We're fucking free. Yeah, I'm Flemish. My family was killed in the fucking concentration camps too. But I didn't get nothing for it. We stood up to the Germans. The Germans tried to invade us. I had to fight them. My great-grandfather organized a militia called the Lichtervelde 13 to fight the Blitzkrieg. He didn't win, man. He did not win. They put him in jail from 1936 to 1944, and they cut his head off at the end. They built a museum in Germany. If I can go watch, I can go to that museum. Fuck David Duke. David Duke doesn't know shit, man. David Duke is like a xenophobe, like Donald Trump. Blue Ren's confused as well and makes bad sources and lies like Durianwire. It's not about that. It's more important to go with like the general son and the people who are, knowing people and empathy, and Marshall Rosenberg, like ex-Jewish people who understand the issue because they have gained compassion and empathy for life. That's who you want to stick with, not people who are like discriminatory hate groups because they want some kind of weakened white race because they need more vitamin D or it makes no sense. These grapes are great. Hey, Monique. Were you just... No, different Monique. I was saying, were you just at the frickin' Rebel Lounge dancing with me? Well, you're in the United Kingdom, so that wouldn't have happened. But my friend Monique is in a picture with me on my Facebook. You can see she's not with me. She was in the bathroom with her girlfriend, and they were like flipping off the camera, and I was like, "Órale, chicas loca, wey. Pura vida. Beige. Have a good night." I know England's up now. They're like, which Americans are still online, man? Which Americans are here to entertain us? Who's still up? I'm often still up. Hey, Dare Vegan's here. Yeah, people in Australia too, huh? They're like, which Americans are still awake at this hour? It's 3 a.m. And the vegan, I get it. Vegan Cheetah took off. That was sick, man. I can't agree with that stuff he was saying. He's just getting incendiary now. He's just looking to create controversy like Durian Rider does. And Isla Mazar's right in that respect, that like you're doing the same things Durian Rider was doing. It's silly, like... I mean, like, I don't know, people can criticize each other all they want, but... I don't see do a non-vegan cheat day as like some cool thing to say. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to morally judge it either. Try not to at least. But I don't see that meeting people's needs for health. I'm going to make a value judgment. I'm going to say that it's not going to be meeting people's needs for health, respect, consideration, well-being, sanctity of life, like all this shit, man. There's a lot of needs that are going to go unmet through those kind of behaviors and actions. And to call for that, that's tyrannical. I don't agree with tyrannical. I agree with liberty, about people being individuals and not being told what to do. I don't tell people what to do. That's stupid. Yeah, because he's been called out for not being vegan or something. Or like, there's no being vegan. Don't you get it? Like, people like get caught up in this, like, oh, are you vegan? Are you vegan? It's like, oh, no, I do veganism. It's like a thing about helping animals, that Jay Dinshaw made in 1960 in Massachusetts, and he's a president of natural hygiene. The natural hygiene is a health school, the oldest vegetarian society in America, that's about healing and opposed to medicine and explaining how the self-healing body works, and goes back to Pythagoras and the Oracle Delphi. And even they taught the Jesus' group or whatever, who is also in that order of Essene Pythagoreanism. Living simply, doing the water fast. That's the miracle. The miracle is within your body. Jesus is just a term of have a personal Jesus, meaning like a supervisor, someone to help you when you're in total rest and you need someone to help you. Like my mom has came down when I'm in the hospital and I'm going to nearly die, and she helps me, She's there to make sure the medicine people don't give me their medicine, and to keep me on fresh fruits and coconut and greens, and, and I'm healed immediately. The body's doing its thing. I hate when you get the bad grape, or you like a fig, and you're like, oh, I got a nasty fig. Do you eat it? Do you keep eating it, or do you spit it out? You're like, ooh, this fig fermented, and now it's alcoholic, and it's still dried, but I eat it. It's like the alcohol fruit. Do you eat the alcohol fruit, or do you spit it out? I reject the word R. 26 minutes just to upload the first video. I made some really long recordings tonight. I love those. Do you guys ever watch those videos, those live music videos I make? Like my DJ friends, and I'm all dancing around and like filming at the same time and shit, and the music is like really loud. And the colors. Oh man. Yeah, dry figs. I grew up eating dry figs. You gotta drink a lot of water if you eat figs though, and you like mess up and get dehydrated. I don't like wearing a shirt, man. It's freaking hot. I don't like wearing a hat either. It's hot. No AC. No AC in Arizona, man. I should make a hashtag. No AC in AZ. Toughen it out. Only way you can do it is with fruit. Been doing it for 3 years. You know, girls can too. My mom always goes topless. My mom doesn't wear a shirt. It's just people have been put it in their mindset that that they think other people will be uncomfortable about them doing something. It doesn't even matter. As long as you're not hurting someone, you can't make someone feel. It's your own sovereignty to do what you want to do. I put all kinds of naked guys on freaking my Facebook albums and shit like that. But then someone complained. It's all about complaint based. We live in a complaint based society, so nothing happens unless people complain. So when people complain, they fucking institute all these automated fucking lifeless systems against each other, punitive force that I don't agree with. I don't agree with punishment, only with reconciliation. Pack that food in. I gotta finish these grapes. I feel. But our 100-degree days should be over. What's Weather Underground say? Are we gonna have more hot days? Let's look. Weather Underground. It's a cool site. Oh, this long mustache thing is weird. I've never had a long mustache. It's just fucking with me all the time. It's like, where are you going? What are you doing? In my mouth or in my nose or what? It's 86 degrees right now, it says. And it says, oh yeah, it's going to be 100 degrees tomorrow. 103, yeah, it's going to be brutally hot tomorrow. And we're not fucking around. We're still not fucking around in Arizona. It's way above body temperature for the next while. That's what it takes to make dates, though. It's stupid because I'm Flemish and we made it up and it's a lie. I don't know. It's just a myth. We just painted the painting to be... If you're an artist, what do? You like, oh, draw this way. Flemish painters. Yeah, I have a video that's my most viewed video. It's called Why is Jesus White? And it's by Muhammad Ali. It's a cool video. If you want to watch it, it's on my YouTube channel. I have some hardcore anti-religious views, though, man. I oppose religion in all sense of the way. Like, I'm not like one of these fake raw people who's like, I'm gonna be like Dan the Man's like, oh yeah, I'm like Jesus, or Gustav Nigel, or Hilton Hatima. They think they're Jesus or something, and I'm like, what the fuck? Don't you realize the myth of redemption is fake, and that's some fucked up shit to do to kids? Don't do that. I don't think anyone is an atheist. I think people hold a bright worldview. That's what I do. I'm a member of the Brights. You know what the Brights are? Like it's a global action committee. The-brights.net, I believe, is the website. www. Let's see if that's it. Yeah. A bright means a bright is a worldview free from supernatural and mystical elements based on natural nature. A naturalistic worldview free from supernatural and mystical elements. That's what it means. It's an umbrella group. Do atheism. I don't agree with atheism as much as like some people. Like some people take it to a militant position of like, it doesn't make sense to me. I think there's no way to be atheist without also being agnostic. So you can't do atheism without having agnosticism. I mean, all atheists already know that, so it's not like I'm saying anything that's new to someone unless they're fucking hardcore, like deathly against what they don't understand or know. Like, how could you know it? If you don't understand or know it, you can't just make up shit. You know what I mean? It's like, until it happens for you, until you've had some experience, direct experience with whatever it is, doesn't matter what, when, how. Well, it's called Brights. It's much better. Like, I don't want to use those words anymore. I like to change language, like Byron Thomas. And, yeah, bright. Hold a bright worldview. I'm not going to say I am a bright. I say I hold a bright worldview. And I act in a hygienic lifestyle, holding a bright worldview, following liberty. Liberty is about protecting the individual. Yeah, you can see how hot it is, man. I'm just sweating out of my pores. But I was raised in an Essene cult. Yeah, I was raised in this place called Temple Beautiful. It's a temple in West Philadelphia that burned down now, but it was a raw vegan cafe from the 70s. And my mom ran it. She ran the salad bars and whatever fruit buffet. But it was this guy named Stephen Haas and Ellen Haas, and they were like, yeah, fuck that shit. I don't believe in testing. I do Montessori, so I'm against testing. Like, when I was fighting against CPS, they gave me this test. I didn't know it was an IQ test. And it was just like shapes and shit. And they said because I got a 130 IQ that I'm trying to trick the government. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? That's so fucked up. I'm trying to teach you what compassion is so you don't get flippant and teach you how to get protein from veganism because you're telling me I'm not going to give protein and a potential for neglect. They didn't want to understand me. They didn't want to understand me. They didn't even want to give me the time of day. They just got their psychologist, their psychiatrist, and I got my psychologist and psychiatrist. They all said opposite things, and we had this big court case, went all the way to Supreme Court, and then I lost. Fuck them. I guess. Whatever. No, I like them still. I mean, but I hope my son finds me. One day my son finds me. I mean, because he wanted to have a dad, man. He did. And I was willing. I was excited. I was like, hell yeah, this girl might have tricked me to get her pregnant and ran away and never let me know you. But I'm interested to freaking not lose you because I didn't get to have a dad, so I wanted it. I wanted to give him the chance to have a dad, but the government wasn't going to let that happen. They worked very hard to make it sure it did not happen. But I never missed a day, man. I didn't miss one thing. For 3 years, I spent an hour a week with him. Every week, I used every service I could. Every visit was harder. Every visit, no sitting on the floor, no presents, no gifts, no... They would even said I couldn't talk about circumcision with him. They were like, no, and they're like hardcore Christian old ladies. Nope, I don't have any idea. He's in foster care. He's been adopted. The mother didn't even show up to court. She lost her rights. I've seen her on the interstate ramp begging for change a few times. She tricked me to think she was raw. She had pheromone perfume, said she was allergic to condoms. I was excited. It's hard to deal with. Like, I'm like vegetarian, so my whole life, women don't want to deal with me. It's like I'm too hard to deal with. So it's like fucking my whole reality is something that pisses women off. It's like women are always pissed off at me. Like, they're my friends and stuff, and I just keep it on a friend level, so there's no problem. So I'm never hitting on women, so it's never a problem. But women who might think of me any way in a relationship-wise are extremely angry about me. And they actually are driven to accusing me of their own insanity because they are hiding their own addictions. Stuff like that. It's fucked up. Whatever, it's what it is. You can watch the YouTube video. I got a video of her trying to fight me, man. It was crazy. I seen it was unlisted. I was like, wow, I should list this video. It's right here. She's on the ground crying and all this shit. I'm just destroying shit. And I was like, stop recording me! After she fucking sucker punched me in the face. I'm just sitting here. She punched me in the car. She just was like big into aggression and violence and wanted to be like tough, you know? And she was just drunk. That was her strategy. I guess other people have done that to her, so she thinks to do it to other people. What a way to live. Okay. What's your YouTube about, Ashley? My name is Ashley. I have no kids. I have my mom and my 3 nephews. We are a team, and we do some stupid, silly stuff. I want to share it with y'all. Alright. I'll fan you. 3 nephews. What does that mean? That means your mom has a brother or a sister, and there's 3 kids, and they're boys, and they live with you. Yeah. Yeah, see, I mean, like, people, like, there's all kinds of situations. Like, people don't agree with how other people are raising their kids, and so they call the cops on them, and then the cops have this thing called Child Protective Service, and they fucking just, like, change people's lives based on their own moral judgments, like, their own perspectives and biases. It's crazy. Yeah. When I type his name every once in a while here and there, if he learns to Google himself, he's probably pissed off. That's what people do. They get pissed off and they'll block you. So, people are very sensitive. Careful, man. Even myself, if someone tries to like constantly set you off, your first reaction is just to protect yourself. And you're like, fuck that shit. I don't need to deal with this. Just turn it off, you know?
Oh, I see. They're around your age. Okay. Nephews. But it means, that's what it means, right? That nephews, wait. Nephews and nieces, that means you have a sister or a brother of yourself, and they have kids. Yeah. It all comes down to food and getting food. That's our goal on Earth. We're frugivores. We're supposed to eat fruit, only fruit. And we spread the seeds, and it makes us so healthy. Ah. Big family. Oh, yeah. You said USA, right? I said USA. Are you down for Gary Johnson? 39, huh? I used to be 39. I'm not 39 anymore. Messed up. Yeah, people disconnecting. That's why I have this book. See, my YouTube channel is about the language of life and about how we can reconcile and use it. What do I do? I have a... Well, no. Grapes are so amazing. Hit the bad one, you're like, fuck that. Sour grape. We get the book. Shit to do in the morning. This will help your brother. This is what it's a 4-process system. Let's see where this is. This book is pretty explanatory. Let's see here. Chapter 10. Chapter Communication that blocks compassion. Moralistic judgments, making comparisons, denial of responsibility, other forms of life alienating communication. Chapter 2 starts on page 15. Start with the negatives, but I like to go backwards. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. For as you judge others, so shall yourselves be judged. Matthew 7:1. Certain ways of communicating alienate us from our natural state of compassion. In studying the question of what alienates us from our natural state of compassion, we have identified specific forms of language and communication which contribute to our behaving violently towards ourselves and each other, termed life-alienating communication. Come on here. Moralistic judgments. Remember when Bush said, some people think moralistic judgments aren't the thing to do. Not me. One kind of a life-alienating communication using of moral judgments implies wrongness or badness on the part of people who don't act in harmony with our values. Such judgments are reflected in language such as, the problem with you is that you're too selfish, she's lazy, they're prejudiced. It's inappropriate. Blame, insults, and put-downs, labels, criticisms, comparisons, and diagnosis are all forms of judgment. I have an image that I made on Facebook about how to turn judgments into empathy. It's pretty cool. It's like, says, rather than doing this, and that, try to separate it into these two. Here's a separate need and a separate feeling, and express it in a request. But then, in the world of judgments, our concern centers on who is what. The Sufi poet Rumi once said, out beyond ideas of wrongness and right-doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. Life-alienating communication, however, traps us in a world of ideas about rightness and wrongness, a world of judgments. It is a language rich with words that classify and dichotomize people and their actions. When we speak this language, we judge others and their behaviors while preoccupying ourselves with who's good, bad, normal, abnormal, responsible, irresponsible, smart, ignorant, etc. Long before I reached adulthood, I learned to communicate in an impersonal way that did not require me to reveal what was going on inside myself. When I encountered people or behaviors I either didn't like or didn't understand, I would react in terms of wrongness. And my teachers assigned a task I didn't want to do, they were mean or unreasonable. If someone pulled out in front of me in traffic, my reaction would be, "You idiot." When we speak this language, when we think that and communicate in terms of what's wrong with others or behaving in certain ways, or occasionally what's wrong with ourselves for not understanding or responding as we would like, our attention is focused on classifying, analyzing, and determining levels of wrongness rather than on what we and others need and not getting. Thus, if my partner wants more attention, affection, what I'm giving her, she is needy and dependent. But if I want more affection than she is giving me, then she is aloof and insensitive. If my colleague is more concerned about the details than I am, he is picky and compulsive. On the other hand, if I am concerned about details than he is sloppy and unorganized. It is my belief that all such analyses of other human beings are tragic expressions of our own values and needs. They are tragic because when we express our values and needs in this form, we increase defensiveness and resistance to them among the very people whose behaviors are of concern to us. Or if we do agree and act in harmony with our values because they concur with our analysis of their wrongness, they will likely do so out of fear, guilt, and shame. You guys watching this? Am I really getting viewers? Maybe a few. We all pay clearly when people respond to our values and needs, not out of a desire to give from the heart, but out of fear, guilt, and shame. Sooner or later, we will experience the consequences of diminished goodwill on the part of those who comply with our values out of a sense of either external or internal coercion. They, too, pay emotionally, for they are likely to feel resentment and decreased self-esteem when they are responded to us out of fear, guilt, and shame. Furthermore, each time others associate us in their minds with any of those feelings, we decrease the likelihood of their responding compassionately to our needs and values in the future. And that's what's happened with your brother, I suppose. Analyses of others are actually expressions of our own unmet needs and values. Bam! See what I mean? Like, imagine the clusterfuck that Cheetah's in if he's not able to express his own needs and values. No, he's not that bad at doing that. It's just like he's using it for YouTube money, to try to guess at other people's. I don't know. It is important here not to confuse value judgments with moralistic judgments. All of us make value judgments as to the qualities we value in life. For example, we might value honesty, freedom, and peace. Value judgments reflect our belief of how life can best be served. We make moralistic judgments of people and behaviors that fail to support our value judgments. E.g., violence is bad, people who kill others are evil. Had we been raised speaking a language that facilitated the expression of compassion, we would have learned to articulate our needs and values directly rather than to insinuate wrongness when they have not been met. For example, instead of violence is bad, we might say, I fear the use of violence to resolve conflicts. I value resolution of human conflicts through other means. The relationship between violence and language and violence is the subject of psychology professor Harvey's research in the University of Colorado. He took random samples of pieces of literature from many countries over the world and tabulated the frequency of words that classify and judge people. This study shows a high correlation between the frequent use of such words and instances as violence. It does not surprise me to hear that there is considerably less violence in cultures where people think in terms of human needs than in cultures where people label one another as good or bad and behave, even bad ones deserve punishment. In 75% of televised program shows showing during hours between American children are most likely to be watching, the hero either kills people or beats them up. The violence typically constitutes a climax of the show, viewers having taught that bad guys deserve to be punished take pleasure in watching this violence. People are watching still? I saw 2 people. In this book, out of weakness, Andrew Schmuckler of Conflict Resolution Department of Harvard University claims that at the base of all violence, whether verbal, psychological, or physical, whether among family members, tribes, or nations, is a kind of a thinking that attributes the cause of conflict to wrongness in one's adversaries. Schmuckler further implicates a corresponding inability to think of oneself or others in terms of vulnerability, what one might be feeling, fearing, yearning, or missing, etc. We saw this dangerous way of thinking during the Cold War. Our leaders viewed Russians as an evil empire bent on destroying the American way of life. Russian leaders referred to the people of the United States as imperialist oppressors who were trying to subjugate them. Neither side acknowledged the fear lurking behind such labels. Classifying and judging people promote violence. So, even calling vegan is not vegan. Calling yourself vegan, not vegan. Get it? Ha! Making comparisons. Comparisons are a form of judgment. Another form of judgment is the use of comparisons. In his book, How to Make Yourself Miserable, Dan Greenberg demonstrates through humor the insidious power of comparative thinking can exert over us. He suggests that if readers have a sincere desire to make life miserable for themselves, they might learn to compare themselves to other people. For those unfamiliar with this practice, he provides a few exercises. The first one displays full-length pictures of a man and woman who embody ideal physical beauty and contemporary media standards. Readers are instructed to take their own body measurements, compare them to those superimposed upon the pictures of attractive specimens, and dwell on the differences. This exercise produces what it promises. We start with the feeling miserable as we engage in these comparisons. By the time that we're as depressed as we think possible, we turn the page to discover that the first exercise was just a warm-up. Since physical beauty is relatively superficial, Greenberg now provides an opportunity to compare ourselves on something that matters, achievement. He resorts to the phone book to give readers a few random individuals to compare themselves with. The first name he claims to have pulled out of the phone book is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Greenberg lists the languages Mozart spoke and then major pieces he had composed in his time when he was a teenager. The exercise then instructs readers to recall their own achievements and their current stage of life, to compare them with that of Mozart's accomplishments by age 12, and dwell on the differences. Even readers who never emerged from the self-induced misery of their exercise might see how powerful this type of thinking blocks compassion, both for oneself and others. Denial of responsibility. Our language obscures awareness of personal responsibility. Another kind of life-alienating communication is the denial of responsibility. Life-alienating communication clouds our awareness that we are each responsible for our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. We use the use of the common expression "have to" and "there are not" illustrates how personal responsibility for our action is obscured in such speech. The phrase "makes one feel," as in "you make me feel guilty," is another example of how language facilitates the denial of personal responsibility for our own feelings and thoughts. In her book, Eichmann in Jerusalem, which documents the war crimes of Nazi officials Adolf Eichmann, Hannah Arendt quotes Eichmann saying that he and his fellow officers had their own name for the denial of responsibility language used. They called it Amtssprache, loosely translated into English as office talk or bureaucraties. For example, if I was asked why I took certain actions, the response might be "I had to," and then ask why you had to, the answer would be superior's orders, company policy, it was the law.
We deny responsibility for our actions when we attribute their cause to vague, impersonal forces. I cleaned my room because I had to. Our condition, diagnosis, personal or psychological history. I am drink because I'm an alcoholic. The action of others. I hit my child because he ran into the street. The dictates of authority. I live to the client base because the boss told me to. I lied to the client because the boss told me to. Group pressure. I started smoking because all my friends did. Institutional policies, rules, and regulations. I have to suspend you for this infraction because it's the school policy. Gender roles, social roles, or age roles. I hate going to work, but I do it because I am a husband and a father. Uncontrollable impulses. I was overcome by my urge to eat the candy bar. Once, during a discussion among parents and teachers, the dangerous language which implies absence of choice, a woman spoke angrily. But there are some things you have to do whether you like it or not, and I see nothing wrong with telling my children that they are things they have to do. Asked one example. Somebody said I had to and reported that's easy. I leave here tonight and I have to go home and cook. I hate cooking. I hate with passion, and I have been doing it every day for 20 years, even when I've been sick as a dog, because I'm the one who things that you must have to do. And I told her I was sad to hear her spending so much of her life doing something that she hated because she felt compelled, and I hope that she might find happier possibilities by learning the language of nonviolence. I am pleased to report that she was a rapid student. Yeah, let's keep reading the quotes. We can replace language that implies lack of choice with language that acknowledges choice. Yes, we can. We are dangerous when we are not conscious of our responsibility for how we behave, think, and feel. Like when she does acting misogynistic and sexist, and he does acknowledge it, but sometimes he doesn't. We can never make people do anything. Thinking based on who deserves what blocks compassionate communication. Life-alienating communication has deep philosophical and political roots. Hello, Veronica. In summary, which I'm done, let's put this book away. It is our nature to enjoy living and giving and receiving compassionately. We have, however, learned many forms of life-alienating communication which lead us to speak and behave in ways that injure ourselves and others. The form of life-alienating communication is to use of moral judgments that implies wrongness or badness on the part of those who act not in harmony with our values. Another form of such communication is the use of comparisons which block compassion both for ourselves and others. Life-alienating communication also obscures the awareness that we each are responsible for our own thoughts and feelings and actions. Communicating our desires in forms of demand is yet another characteristic of language that blocks compassion. Observing without evaluating. Yes. The book goes on. Identifying and expressing feelings. Here's a list of the feelings in this. This is page 44. How we are likely to feel when our needs are being met. Absorbed, adventurous, affectionate, alert, alive, amazed, amused, animated, appreciative, ardent, aroused, astonished, blissful, breathless, buoyant, calm, carefree, cheerful, comfortable, complacent, composed, concerned, confident, contented, cool, curious, dazzled, delighted, eager, and it goes on and on and on and ends in zestful. How we feel when our needs are not met. We feel cross, bewildered, afraid, cold, confused, disgruntled, skeptical, sleepy, upset, uptight, vexed, weary, woeful, worried, wretched. Summary. The second component necessary for expressing ourselves is feelings. By developing a feeling vocabulary, identifying our emotions, we can connect more easily with others. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable by expressing our feelings can help resolve conflicts. Nonviolence distinguishes expressing and actual feelings from words and statements which describe thoughts, assessments, and interpretations. Yeah, a lot of people think that they're
that their assessments are feelings. Like, they're not. They're blame and shame. Blame and shame. Blame and shame. What a book. I like that book. I got that book in 1998. Is anyone here still? There's one person. There's nobody here. There's nobody here. I don't know what I'm even doing. Why am I even trying to do YouNow? I'm number 1 in YouTuber. What's the audience? Nobody. Nobody. I ran everybody off with nonviolence. They're vegans live. I'm ending the broadcast because nobody's interested.